All right, listen up. Most people ain't gonna make it. That's the truth. It sounds cold, don't it? But I'm not here to sugarcoat nothing. I'm here to tell you what they won't say. Most people will live and die in the same spot they started in. Mentally, emotionally, financially, spiritually, because they never get uncomfortable enough to grow. See, people love to want success. They talk about it. They dream about it. They scroll through it on social media. But when it's time to pay the price, when it's time to stay up late, wake up early, get rejected, lose friends, get laughed at, get doubted, get knocked down, that's when most folks tap out. They confuse interest with commitment. Success don't come with an instruction manual. It comes with failure, embarrassment, fear, and pain. That's the entrance fee. And most people, they don't want to pay it. They'd rather stay where it's safe, where it's familiar, where it's average. They wait for the perfect moment. Let me tell you something, the perfect moment doesn't exist. You're either doing it or you're making excuses, and life don't reward excuses, it rewards action. Consistent, disciplined, uncomfortable action. Now let me get real with you. Success will cost you. It'll cost you your laziness. It'll cost you your ego. It'll cost you some relationships. It might even cost you a few years when nobody claps for you, when nobody believes in you, where you feel crazy for even trying. But if you can stomach that, if you can walk through that storm and not fold, you'll find yourself in a life you don't need a vacation from. The harsh truth is, most people aren't willing to be misunderstood long enough to be great. They give up too early. They settle too soon. But you, if you've got the fire in your gut, don't let them be your blueprint. Don't follow the crowd because the crowd is broke, tired, and frustrated. Be the one who decides, I won't stop until it happens. You've got the power, but power without discipline is wasted. Power without vision is aimless. Power without effort. Let's get one thing straight. Success and comfort do not live in the same neighborhood. You can chase comfort or you can chase growth, but you can't have both. Most people, whether they realize it or not, choose comfort. And that choice right there is the reason they stay stuck. See, comfort feels good. It's easy, it's familiar. It doesn't challenge your identity. It doesn't demand anything new from you. But success is violent with your excuses. It kicks down the door on your limitations. It requires you to become someone you've never been. And that transformation, it hurts. Most people aren't willing to feel that kind of pain. They don't want to wake up at 5 a.m. when the bed is warm. They don't want to say no to the party when there's work to be done. They don't want to get laughed at when they take a risk and fail. They want to stay safe in the job they hate, around the friends who don't grow, in the routine that's slowly draining them, just because it's comfortable. But here's the harsh truth. Nothing extraordinary grows in a comfortable environment. Think about your muscles. How do they grow? Through resistance. You tear them and the body rebuilds them stronger. Growth hurts, but that's the process. It's no different in life, in business, and relationships. If you're not stretching, straining, failing, then you're not growing. And if you're not growing, you're not going anywhere new. Now society feeds us this lie that success should feel good all the time. Social media shows you highlight reels, but it doesn't show you the sleepless nights, the anxiety, the sacrifices, the doubt. That's the side of success that's real. But most people avoid it because it's uncomfortable. So instead, they trade their goals for distraction. They stay busy, not productive. They complain, not commit. They make excuses, not progress. Understand this, discomfort is not the enemy, it's the gateway. Every time you lean into something that makes you nervous, makes you sweat, makes you question if you're good enough, that's a doorway to the next level of you. But if you avoid those doors, you stay exactly where you are. It's not that people don't want more. They just don't want to feel what it takes to get more. Here's a real question to ask yourself. When was the last time you did something that truly scared you? Not scared like watching a horror movie. I mean, scared like putting yourself out there. Speaking of, starting something without a guarantee. Most people haven't done that in years. And that's why nothing changes. Discomfort is a compass. When it shows up, it's often pointing directly at the thing you need to face. But it's also the exact moment most people turn around and go back to what's easy. So if you want to separate yourself from the pack, do the opposite. When discomfort shows up, lean in. That's where growth lives. That's where your potential is hiding. It's not in the comfort zone, it's beyond it. Bottom line, if you're serious about success, you've got to be more committed to growth than you are to comfort. And the moment you get comfortable being uncomfortable, you'll start to see progress most people never will. That's the truth most people avoid. But if you embrace it, you become unstoppable. All right, let's talk about something real. Something that separates the people who talk about success from the ones who actually get it. And that's this: interest ain't commitment. See, a lot of folks are interested in success. Everybody wants to be rich. Everybody wants the big house, the nice car, the freedom to do what they want when they want. They want the applause, the spotlight, the life on top. But they don't want to do what it takes to earn it. That's where the difference is. Wanting it, that's easy. Being committed to it, that's where the game changes. When you're interested in something, you do it when it's convenient. You do it when you're in the mood. You do it when everything lines up just right. But when you're committed, you do it regardless. You show up when you're tired. You work when no one's watching. You grind when the motivation is gone and all you got left is discipline. That's commitment. You ever meet those people who say, I'm going to start my business, or I'm going to lose weight, or I'm going to get serious this year? Then you see them a few months later, and they're still doing the same thing they were doing last year, talking. Ain't nothing changed. You know why? Because they were interested, not committed. Talking don't cost a thing. Commitment costs everything. Let me tell you, commitment don't care how you feel. There are days you won't feel like working, days you won't feel like showing up, days when doubt creeps in and whispers you ain't good enough. But when you're committed, you do it anyway, because your goals don't care about your feelings. That your dream doesn't show up for your excuses. Commitment means pushing through when your mind says quit. It means choosing the future you want over the comfort you've been clinging to. And let's be honest, commitment is lonely. Oh yeah, it'll cost you people. Some folks ain't gonna understand your grind. They'll call you obsessed. They'll say you changed. And you know what? They're right. You have to change. You can't stay the same and reach the next level. That old version of you, that version was interested. The new one committed. When you're committed, you stop negotiating with your limitation. You stop saying, oh, well, I'll do it if I have time. No, you make time. You carve it out. You protect your dream like your life depends on it, because in a way it does. This ain't just about money or success. It's about becoming the person you were created to be. See, commitment don't wait for motivation. Motivation is cute, but it don't last. It comes and goes like the weather. You might wake up fired up today, but what about tomorrow when life punches you in the mouth? What about when you lose, when you fail, when you mess up big time? If you're just interested, you'll fold. But if you're committed, you'll keep going. You'll wipe your tears, straighten your back and say, let's go again. That's the difference. That's what separates the dreamers from the doers. Interest is for talkers. Commitment is for winners. You got to decide which one you are. So don't tell me what you're willing to do. Look, because if you ain't willing to sacrifice for it, then you don't really want it. And that's the hard truth. But here's the good news. The moment you stop flirting with your dream and finally marry it, commit to it like your life depends on it, that's when everything starts to change. That's when the doors open. That's when the world moves. You just got to be all in. No halfway, no maybes, no backup plan. Just commit and don't look back. All right, sit down and hear me real good, because this one right here, it's the truth most people don't want to admit. Wanting something and being committed to it are two completely different things. And until you understand that difference, you're going to stay stuck right where you are. Let me tell you something. Everybody wants to be successful. Everybody. You go outside, stop 100 people, and ask them, well, you want to be rich? You want to live your dream? All 100 of them gonna say yes. Ain't nobody gonna say, nah, I want to stay broke. I want to keep struggling. Nah, everybody wants something better. But here's where most folks fall short. They don't want it bad enough to sacrifice for it. They don't want it bad enough to suffer for it. They don't want it bad enough to change for it. See, that's what commitment is. It's when you stop being interested in the idea of success and you start doing the real ugly, dirty, boring work that success actually demands. Interested people, They work when it's fun, they go hard when it's new, when it's exciting, when everybody's cheering for them. But the moment it gets quiet, the moment life stops clapping, when the process gets slow, when progress feels invisible, they quit. They back up. They say, maybe it ain't for me. That's interest talking. Now committed people, oh, they're different. They show up when it's hard. They show up when they're tired. They show up when they're broke, when they're scared, when they're doubting themselves. Committed folks don't care if it's raining or snowing, or if the lights get cut off. They're gonna keep moving because they made a decision, a real one. Not a maybe, not a let me try. A decision that says, I'm not leaving this thing until I win. That's what I'm talking about. You gotta get to a point where quitting ain't on the menu, where excuses don't have a seat at your table. You gotta be so locked in that even if nobody supports you, even if nobody claps for you, even if you're failing over and over again, you keep going. Why? Because you promised yourself that you would. See, a commitment is a promise, and too many of you are breaking promises to yourselves. You say, I'm gonna get in shape, and you don't. You say, I'm gonna start this business, and it never happens. You keep lying to yourself, and then wonder why you don't trust your own dream no more. That's because you've been interested, not committed. Let me break it down even further. Interest is when you look at a mountain and say, man, I'd love to be on top of that. Commitment is when you lace up your boots, grab your gear, and start climbing. Even when it hurts, even when you slip, even when you're climbing all alone. You think the people who make it to the top did it because they were lucky? No, they were committed. They showed up every day. They did what they didn't feel like doing. They sacrificed nights, weekends, comfort, fun, just to get 1 inch closer. And they kept doing it over and over when everybody else stopped. So stop playing with your potential. Stop being halfway. Stop dating your dream and marry it. Lock in. Go all in. Tear up your plan B and get serious about plan A. That's the only way this thing works. Because if you're only interested, you'll find every reason to stop. But if you're committed, you'll find one reason to keep going. And that one reason, that 1 ounce of fight left in you, that's enough to change your whole life. All right now, let me tell you something that might sting a little, but it's the truth. Some of y'all are waiting. You sitting there, waiting for the stars to line up, waiting for the right time, waiting for the right mood, the right feeling, the right person to believe in you. You keep saying, I'm gonna do it when things calm down. I'm gonna start when I get the money. I'm gonna move when the time is right. Let me stop you right there. There's no perfect time. Ain't no magic day coming where everything's easy and laid out just how you want it. That day, that moment you're waiting for, it ain't real. It's an illusion. It's fear dressed up in a tuxedo. And while you're waiting on perfect, life is passing you by. I need you to understand this. The people who make it, the ones you look up to, the ones out there winning, they didn't wait on perfect. They started messy. They started scared. They started with what they had, even when it wasn't enough. They made moves with shaky hand. They took the first step in the dark. They just believed that motion beats waiting every single time. See, waiting on the perfect moment is just a fancy way to procrastinate. It feels responsible, don't it? Feels like you're being smart, like you're being patient. But let's be honest, most of the time you ain't being patient. You being scared. You don't want to fail. You don't want to be embarrassed. You don't want to look dumb trying something new. So you cover it up with, I'm not ready yet. But baby, let me tell you, you ain't never gonna feel fully ready. And if you wait for that feeling, you're gonna wake up 10 years from now with a bunch of almost and a maybes and I should have done it back then. You think every successful person you see had everything figured out when they started? Absolutely not. They were broke. They were nervous. They were unsure. But they understood one thing. Action brings clarity. You don't wait to be confident to move. You move and build confidence on the way. Every step you take teaches you something. Every mistake sharpens you. Every setback grows you. But you can't get any of that sitting still. So while you're out here waiting on the perfect time, somebody else is out there taking your spot. Somebody with less talent than you, less money than you, less connections than you. They out here grinding, showing up, putting their name on something and getting noticed. Simply because they started. Let me ask you this. How many dreams you gonna let die on the shelf of perfection? How long you gonna keep waiting for the right time that never comes? The right time is now. It's right now. With your fear, with your doubt, with your flaws. Start where you are. Use what you got. Move anyway. Ain't nothing wrong with planning, but don't let planning turn into stalling. At some point, you gotta jump. You gotta stop rehearsing and live the scene. Life ain't no dress rehearsal. You get one shot at this thing. One. And if you're serious about making something happen, then you need to stop waiting and start walking. Your blessing, it ain't at the starting line. It's out there in the field. You gotta go get it. You gotta be bold enough to move while you're uncertain. You gotta be brave enough to build the wings after you jump. So let me tell you again, loud and clear, stop waiting on perfect. Start working with real. The future you want is already out there. Nothing good. It's just waiting on you to stop waiting. All right, listen to me closely right now, because this one gonna hit different. Everybody wants success. Everybody wants to win. But most people, they don't want to pay the price. And make no mistake, success comes with a cost. It ain't free, it never has been, it never will be. You can't just roll out of bed, say a few affirmations, sip your coffee, and expect success to knock on your door. No, sir, this ain't no drive-through. This is a grind, this is a sacrifice. You're gonna have to give something up to go get what's waiting for you. See, people love the idea of success. They love how it looks, they love how it sounds. But when it's time to give something up, that sleep, that comfort, them weekends, that Netflix, them people in your circle who ain't doing nothing with their life, and with their life are most folks back home. They love success until it starts asking for things they ain't ready to let go of. But you can't have growth without sacrifice. You can't keep living like everybody else and expect to live better than everybody else. You're gonna have to say no to some things, and that's hard, I get it. Nobody wants to feel like they're missing out. But let me tell you, while they're out there partying, laughing, wasting time, you out there building. And one day that sacrifice gonna show up with interest. You might have to sacrifice sleep, not forever, but for a season. You might have to work that job and chase your dream on the side until that dream pays the bills. You might have to say no to going out so you can stay in and invest in yourself. You might lose people. Let's talk about that, because that one hurts. Some people just not gonna understand your grind. You start leveling up, they start falling back. That's part of it. Don't chase him, let him go. See, elevation requires separation. You can't take everybody with you. And I know that's a painful truth, but it's real. If the people around you don't want more, don't push, don't grow, guess what? They'll pull you back. And if you're serious about success, you're gonna have to outgrow some conversations, some environments, and some habits. You may have to sacrifice your old self too. Yeah, the version of you that made excuses, the version that gave up quick, the version that waited on motivation. You gotta bury that person. You gotta become someone new, someone disciplined, someone focused, someone who says, oh, no matter what, I'm showing up. Sacrifice ain't glamorous. It don't come with applause. Nobody sees the early mornings, the lonely nights, the tears, the rejections, the failures. But that's the price. And if you're willing to pay it, if you can hold on when most people let go, that's when the breakthrough comes. Let me tell you something else. If success was cheap, everybody would have it. But the fact that it costs so much is exactly what makes it worth it. It's what separates the talkers from the doers. It's what filters out the halfway people. The price is there to protect the dream, to make sure only the ones who really want it can get it. So you gotta ask yourself, what am I willing to give up to go up? Because make no mistake, you will pay either way. You'll either pay the price of discipline now or the price of regret later. And let me tell you, regret costs way more. So yeah, success comes with a cost. But if you're willing to make the sacrifice, the return on that investment, it's life-changing. All right now, lean in close, because I need you to really feel this one. One of the biggest reasons people never reach the level they dream about is because they can't stand to be misunderstood. Yeah, you heard me. Most folks don't fail because they ain't got talent, or because they too broke, or because they too broke, or because the opportunity ain't there. They fail because they too scared of what other people gonna say. They scared to look different, scared to be judged, scared to outgrow the circle they've been comfortable in. So what do? They shrink, they play small. They dim their light so nobody feels uncomfortable. Let me tell you something. If you're going to chase greatness, if you're going to step into your purpose, you will be misunderstood. People going to talk. They're going to laugh. They're going to question your moves, your timing, your dream. But why are you trying to do all that? Or you really think you can make it? Are you changed? Damn right you changed. You're supposed to change. That's what growth is. That's what evolution looks like. You can't get to the next level being the same version of yourself that everybody's comfortable with. See, we live in a world where fitting in is easy. Everybody wants to be liked. Everybody wants to be approved. But here's the harsh truth. Approval and purpose rarely ride in the same car. If you're more concerned with being accepted than being authentic, you're going to live your whole life trapped in somebody else's opinion. And the folks who misunderstand you, 9 times out of 10, they ain't even chasing nothing. They're standing still, but they quick to judge your movement. They ain't sacrificed what you've sacrificed. They ain't seen your vision. They don't know what God whispered to you in the dark. So why you letting their opinion hold you back? You trying to be normal around people who never wanted more. That's why they don't get it. Now let me keep it all the way real. This path ain't easy. Being misunderstood is lonely sometimes. You might not get invited to everything. You might lose friends. Your own family might not support you. You're going to have moments where you feel like maybe they're right. Maybe you are crazy. Maybe you should just stop. Maybe you should just go back to playing it safe. But let me tell you something I learned the hard way. Every time you shrink to fit their expectations, you betray your gift. You were built for more. You were given a vision. You were born to stand out, to lead, to build something different. And the price for that is not being understood by everybody. But you know what? You don't need everybody. You just need the right ones. And most importantly, you need you. You need to believe in yourself loud enough that their doubt sounds like background noise. So stop explaining yourself. Stop looking for permission. Stop asking people who never built nothing if it's okay for you to build something. Just go. Do your thing. Move in silence if you gotta shine anyway. Let them think what they're gonna think, because when it finally works, and it will if you stay the course, the same people who doubted you gonna be the ones saying, I always knew you could do it. Funny how that works. You ain't here to be understood. You're here to make an impact. So walk in your truth. Speak your vision. Do your work. And if they misunderstand you, let them. That's not your burden to carry. Because one day they're going to see what you saw, and by then you'll be too far ahead to hear them clearly. Keep going. All right, let me wrap this up with the realest thing you're going to hear today. The people who make it in life, they ain't the lucky ones. They the relentless ones. That's it. Point blank, period. Now I know some folks out here love to say, oh, they just got lucky. He was in the right place at the right time. Or she had a connection. Let me stop you right there. Ain't nobody get to the top just on luck. You don't stay on top because you got lucky. You stayed there because you grinded your way up and refused to come back down. You fought, you clawed. You stayed in the game when most people tapped out. That ain't luck. That's relentlessness. See, talent is good. It'll get you noticed. But talent without work ethic is like having a brand new car with no gas. It looks good, but it ain't going nowhere. You might know somebody right now who got all the talent in the world, but they lazy. They inconsistent. They got dreams, but no drive. And then you got somebody else, maybe not as gifted, maybe not as flashy, but they show up every single day, rain or shine, happy or sad. Broke or tie, that's the one who wins in the long run. Relentless people don't make excuses. They make adjustments. You knock them down, they get back up. You close the door, they find a window. You tell them no, they hear a not yet. And that's the mindset you gotta have if you want something real in this life. You gotta be the type of person who keeps swinging even when you ain't seeing results, even when nobody's clapping for you, even when the world is telling you to quit. Because let me tell you, there will be seasons where it feels like nothing's working. You'll be grinding, praying, hustling, sacrificing, and it'll feel like you're moving in circles. But guess what? That's when most people stop. They think it ain't meant to be. They walk away right before the breakthrough. But the ones who make it, they stay. They trust the process. They keep pushing even when they're tired of pushing. That's what being relentless looks like. And don't let comfort trick you. Comfort will have you sitting on potential like it's a couch. Oh, you weren't built to be average. You weren't created to just survive. You were made to thrive, to conquer, to build something, to leave something. But none of that comes if you stop the moment it gets hard. The truth is, most people give up at the first sign of resistance. The first failure, the first to know, the first time somebody laughs at them. But relentless people, they use that pain as fuel. They let it light a fire under them. They don't run from the storm. They walk through it. You don't have to be the smartest, the most talented, or the most connected. But if you outwork everybody in the room, if you stay consistent when everybody else takes breaks, be relentless with your time, be relentless with your focus, be relentless with your dream. Because the minute you decide you're not quitting no matter what, that's the minute everything starts to shift. Success don't go to the luckiest, it goes to the hungriest, the boldest. The ones who keep knocking till the door falls off the hinges. Be that person. All right, now you done heard it all. The truth most people run from, the stuff nobody wants to say out loud. But here it is, raw and uncut. If you want to succeed in this life, you better get ready to pay the price. Stand alone, walk through storms, and keep showing up when everything in you wants to sit down. This ain't for the faint of heart. This ain't for the ones looking for shortcuts or handouts. This is for the ones who decide, I'm not going to live an average life because I wasn't built to be average. Let me tell you something. Greatness is already inside you. It's not out there somewhere, hiding in a book, a course, a person, or a perfect plan. It's already in you. But it don't come out through wishing. It don't come out through talking. It comes out through doing, through grinding, through showing up day after day after day, even when the results ain't there yet. Even when nobody's watching, even when you're tired, broke, frustrated, and ready to quit. That's when you dig deeper. That's when you find out who you really are. And yeah, the road is lonely sometimes. You're gonna lose people. You're gonna doubt yourself. You're gonna cry. But you keep walking anyway. You keep moving forward anyway. Because deep down, playing it safe, staying comfortable, doing what everybody else is doing, that ain't it. That's not living. That's just surviving. So from this moment forward, make the decision to be the one who doesn't stop, the one who doesn't fold, the one who keeps climbing even when it hurts. Be the one who refuses to let fear, opinions, or failure have the last word. That ain't your ending. You're writing a story that ain't finished yet. So pick up the pen, get back in the ring, lock in. And remember, success don't go to the most talented, the loudest, or the luckiest. It goes to the one who wanted it bad enough not to quit. Now get out there and go take what's already yours.